having failed a couple of times over my life, I've come to realize is that it's never as bad as it looks when you're going through it. Ask your question and then listen. Don't interject. Listen. Don't be afraid, even if you've been doing the business for 20 years. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask the people that are below you, or not necessarily below you, but the people that you've hired. Ask them what they would do.
Welcome to the Biz Life Podcast. I am Donnie Bedore, your host, and we are here to talk about the business life, not the busy life. So today I have a great friend of mine, Jeff, here, and man, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you so much. And I didn't realize we were friends, but I'm glad that you said that. So,
Heck yeah, we are. So, Jeff Burch, welcome, man. I want to get into the podcast here. Tell me, first, let's go off a little bit about yourself, right? Wife, kids,
okay.
What have you been doing all your life, right?
So, I'm married, of course, and my wife, Lori is her name.
Okay.
We have a little girl together, and then prior to her, I was married before, and I also have a 25-year-old son that now graduated college and lives in Midland and working full-time there, so yeah.
So just two kids?
Just two kids.
Yeah, very cool.
That I know of. So.
Oh, man. And as far as work, right, what do you do now, and what have you done in the past?
So now I am a roofer by trade. So I manage and I sell roofing, but we're also a full-blown construction company. I'll lean more here today on the roofing side of it, but pretty much anything that's storm-related damage.
Oh, okay.
We dive into that.
Man, how about that storm down south? Oh, my gosh.
Yes, was nasty for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, the winds down there was just nuts. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what else? So have you always done roofing construction, or?
I have not. Very, very interesting story. So for about 12 years, I was a computer scientist, if you will. My degree.
Shut up.
My degree is in computer science and also mathematics. So I did that out of college for several years. Yeah. And I did learn some things about myself. My last position in the computer realm, I was working for a large independent bank here in Texas. And I was behind literally 4 gate code doors. And so very much by myself all day long. And I realized over time that I'm a people person. And so that was bleeding me dry, and I didn't even realize it. But I went through some things, and on Friday, one day I gave my notice that I was leaving. Yeah. That following Monday, I was building a house. So, wow. Yes. Okay. Of course, I had set the track beforehand, but yeah, sure. Yeah. So for Friday, computer scientist, Monday, building a house. Wow. So, yep. Oh, wow.
So what does it mean to be a computer scientist? That sounds like, it's like mad scientist.
Yeah, very, very nerdy. If you didn't know me, you wouldn't realize that I was a nerd on the backside. But there's a gamut of things that you can go into as a computer scientist. Yeah. For the bank in particular, I was a processing manager. Any transaction that went through the bank, we processed that electronically. So
interesting.
That was that key. And then I worked for a short time with a clinic there that was a very large medical clinic. And any device that touched the network there, I was in charge of, and in charge of the security. So there's a gamut of things that you can do.
Yeah, a lot of cybersecurity type stuff as well. Okay. So did you grow up here in Fort Worth, or?
I did not. I actually grew up in and around Lubbock, Texas. Yeah. Okay. Graduated high school from a small school called Spring Lake Earth. We were 2A, so I had 28 kids in my graduating class, really small.
Wow, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Dang. I had 600 and something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, other than the other 27, I was the smartest kid in the class. So, yeah.
Love it. So what did you want to do after high school? Did you, I guess, in the computer aspect of it? Or?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I always wanted to design interplanetary space vehicles. And so while I was in college, I was offered a scholarship from the Air Force to do just that. And I went to Texas Tech initially to get some basics.
Sure.
And then I was going to transfer on to the University of Texas at Arlington and study aerospace engineering. And was moving in that direction until my junior year in college. And the Air Force said, the government said there's no more space program at all.
Oh, wow.
So they gave us the option to, leave. And I chose to do that at that time. So
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah. What made you want to do that?
Honestly, Star Wars.
There you go. Okay.
Exactly. I knew that at some point we would be not necessarily living in space, but there would be a lot of things going on in space, and that there would have to be a way to move back and forth between.
Yeah. So I guess you're pretty intrigued with SpaceX and what Elon Musk is doing and
yes,
stuff
a
with
little,
the rockets.
yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's changed so much in the last 10, 12 years. Yep.
It amazes me how you can shoot off a rocket, right, and then have it freaking land straight up and down, right? It's crazy to watch. Yeah. Okay, so do you think the Earth is round or flat?
It's very round. Well, it's pretty round.
I'm just kidding. We won't go into that debate.
No.
Anyway. So let's fast forward to roofing, right?
Yes, sir.
And hey, listen, if you're watching, thank you for watching. Again, don't exit here. Stay tuned because we're going to talk a little bit about, business and business ethics and just success in your life and just really dive into that. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share out. I really appreciate it. It does help the algorithms and all those things to help the channel expand. So I appreciate that. As far as your roofing industry, right? I mean, to me, and I know the reason you're on this podcast because you don't fit in this mold, okay? But prior to me really knowing a few key people in the roofing industry, to me it was almost like a lot of used car salesmen, right? Storm comes by and everybody's knocking on doors, right? And and just want to come in, get the easy cash and leave, and you never see them again and all that. So, I really admire the work ethic and just the ethics that you have in your industry. It really seems to shine through just in the interaction that I've known you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what's the, first, am I mistaken in that? Is that something on my end, or do you see a lot of that in the roofing industry?
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, I guess you could say that really about any industry.
Agreed.
But there is quite a bit of get rich quick mentality in the roofing industry.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, that's really where we draw the line. Not to say that we don't want to get rich eventually, but
well, sure.
We absolutely want to have repeat customers.
Yeah.
I don't want to just I don't want to just do a roof repair for you today.
Yeah.
I want to do one for you today, and then maybe in a couple of years, if needed.
Yeah.
And then at some point, maybe put a roof on for you, or
right.
for your aunt or your uncle, whoever that might be.
Yeah.
But we are adamant about building lifelong relationships with our customers.
Yeah. And I don't want to dive too much in the roofing just yet, but one thing that I grew up with in business was the business owner that I worked for, and I don't mention who it was or anything, but the key factor that he instilled into his employees was, look, there's no money that's greater than our name, right? And so that was just instilled into me at a young age, growing up in the corporate world, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just shines through on those people. They're like, you know what? They care more about their name than any kind of paycheck or money, and it just shines through on you. And I appreciate that about you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Got a question. This is something that popped into mind earlier. If there was any place you would go on earth, and in any time frame that's ever been existed, right?
Okay.
Any time frame, any place on earth, where would you go back to if you could go there, survive, and come back?
I've thought about this question actually more than once in my life, and I've never really come up with an answer until you just asked that again.
Okay.
This is strange, but I would want to go back and watch the battle at the Alamo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, this is getting probably maybe too far offline, but I've always wondered what it would be like if you could say, go back to the Alamo and give them 100 AK-47s with all the ammo that they needed, how that would change things going forward, you know? So I'm not saying that I would want to go back with AK-47s, but I've always been curious about that. But that's what I would say. I don't want to be in the Alamo when it's going down, but I would like to be, you know, like a fly on the wall kind of situation. Yeah, that would be really interesting.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Texas boy right there.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. I love it. So as far as business, right? So most of our people watching are going to be new entrepreneurs, new business owners. Maybe they're seasoned, right? And they just need something fresh to connect to and get some inspiration, right? Let's talk to two people real quick.
Okay.
All right. So if you are a new business owner, right? Fresh startup, getting started, because you remember back whenever you first started, right?
Yes.
Went from computer science to construction, right? And you said slightly that there was some prep work involved, right? So I'd like to talk about that, and I'd like to talk about what are some things that you would give advice to for the new startup, right?
Okay.
What's some advice that you would give them, and then also work in your prep work too? Yeah.
So there's one adage that I use a lot, and it kind of reverberates constantly in my head, is that all of us were born with two ears and one mouth, and there's a reason for that.
Yep.
You really should always listen twice as much as you talk. And so if I could give advice, I would say to anyone that's starting new is to ask your question and then listen. Don't interject, listen.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think sometimes whenever we are listening, right, we're coming to that conversation with some preconceived ideas and thoughts, and sometimes we can't separate those to just listen, right? And I love that too, and I've used that. I tell people, hey, look, listening is not waiting for your turn to speak, right?
Yeah, my wife tells me that all the time.
Yeah, but no, that's great advice. Yeah, great advice. What are some things you think that you that really contributed to success in starting your new business?
Well, just so that we understand, is the company that I work for, I'm not the owner, and it was started before.
Yep.
But you mean when I started as what I'm doing now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really just being willing to learn, and knowing that even though, so prior to coming into roofing, I built homes for 8 years.
Okay.
Like I was a full-blown, like a
general
custom home builder.
contractor. Okay. And is that what you did right after the computer science part?
Yes.
Then you went into custom home building?
Yeah.
Did that for 8 years, and then did you go into the roofing? somewhat. For the most part.
Yeah.
So, okay. On the custom homes, the general contractor work, was that your own company, or did you work for someone?
That was me. That was 100% me.
Okay, perfect. So on that one, right, I would imagine, doing that for 8 years, right, there's some success within that.
Success, definitely some failure.
Sure.
And, yeah.
And, I always say that we learn in direct proportion to how well we're willing to look at our failures and find a new way to not make those mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. If we can do that, then we'll learn. Right. What are some things that you have learned in growing that business, and then also helping growing the current business that you're within?
Yes, sir. So that's a really good question. I think probably the most important thing that I've learned over my time, because I've done more than one thing, is that failure happens. And you're going to fail at something.
Yeah.
And what we don't realize is that when we're going through that failure, is that it seems really dismal on the other end.
Sure.
But having failed a couple of times over my life, I've come to realize is that it's never as bad as it looks when you're going through it. And when you get on the other side, you have so much, more respect for yourself because you made it through it. I'm not afraid. I used to be so scared to venture out, but I'm not afraid of that at all anymore, because I know that even if I fail, the world's not coming to an end because of that failure.
Failure's not final.
Yep, absolutely not. So
that's good. I always say that, and I'm a religious person as well, I guess someone would say. But I always say, stop praying away your problems, because a lot of times your problems is what's going to make you who you are.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so I like what you said, that, failure is basically part of the process, right? It's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Regardless. Right. And so don't look at failures as something necessarily negative. Right.
Yep.
Because really on the other side of failure, number one, you learn. Right. You'll learn what to do and what not to do. Prior to that, you didn't. Right. Obviously, would we like to take the easy road? We all would.
Yeah, of course.
Right. We all would like to take the easy road, and we'd like to find, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
For sure.
But that's not how life works. Right.
That's right.
And so I find it troubling sometimes whenever I'm talking to, a new business owner. Maybe they're 3 months in, 6 months in, a year in. And they're like, man, I'm just not making money, right? And, any new business that you start, it's going to take time to grow.
Of course, yes.
And it's going to also take some failures whenever you're figuring out that path, right? Even if you get a franchise, right, that's supposed to have a lot of things all mapped out for you, you're still going to have failures. It may not be as many as if you do a fresh start all by yourself. But I really liked what you said in the beginning, was to ask questions, ask questions and listen. And listen, right? It's so very vital. So what made you change, if you don't mind me asking, what made you change from the general contractor to the roofing in the end?
Well, was pretty simple. I was flat broke. So
no, being flat broke will make you change some things.
Well, I had built a home up in Ruidoso, New Mexico, and I completely from the ground up, and I was doing a full remodel on another one that I owned, and was doing another remodel at the time for a different house.
Yeah,
and I listed the house, and the economy dropped almost the day of actually finishing it. And it's set for 18 months.
Is this back in like 08 or something?
It was right. It was 07, 08.
Around that,
Yep. So exactly. So when that happened, it's set for 18 months, and I depleted every bit of my resources to maintain the payments on the house, and so I depleted everything, and complete and utter failure, what it looked like then.
Sure.
And when I mentioned this earlier, but what I gained from that was just the ability to know that no matter what happens, you're going to make it through it. So if I could really say anything to anybody, that's what I would say, is that no matter what happens, you're going to make it through it. So.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Yeah.
Right. I like that a lot. So Watson's Roofing, right? It's not your business. You're working for
Bill Watson. He's the owner. Yes, sir.
Very
yes,
cool. Sir. Excellent. What's your typical day look like in
the industry?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of driving typically.
Okay.
So driving from appointment to appointment, or appointment to appointment.
Yeah.
And we do multiple inspections, and they range from a couple of shingles missing to I looked at one today where a tree had fallen and completely broke the corner of a house. I mean, broke it. Man. Yeah. So
that wasn't my house, was it?
Well, we need to talk about that off air. But yeah, so it ranges quite a bit. I think one of the things that really separates us is Bill has like 100 years of experience in roofing. He actually started when they were putting mud on straw. That's really a joke. So, but Bill has almost 50 years of experience in the construction arena. He started out way young in the concrete business, and so he literally started from the ground up.
That's
and
cool.
He 13 years ago started this company.
Yeah.
And I'd say that Bill is the single most best character person that I know. And so I lean on his ability to see through everything a lot. Yeah. And so, but yeah.
I love it. What are some things that you have learned from him? Right. Mm-hmm. What has shined through that you've learned from him?
Really and truly is that things don't look as bad as we think they are when we're going through them. We have typically really, really good customers, and everybody has, one or two that are not all-star customers, if you will.
Yeah.
And so, but his ability to be able to see things from their point of view has been just life-changing for me.
Yeah.
And so, it helps me, just being able to really put yourself into someone else's shoes. Not only helps you in business, it helps you in life. Let's be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I think that's important, right? Because people act, in the way things occur to them.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
However it occurs to them, that's generally what they're going to act upon, right? What they feel is the truth, or what they see as truth, or whatever. And so for us to put ourselves in their perspective and really try to find out how things occur to them, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then I think we can navigate that conversation, that transaction, into a way that's beneficial for both. But without stopping and saying, how does this occur to them? And asking them, how does that occur to you? Why does it occur to you that way and stuff, I think is very important in that. So, no, I like that. I love that.
Yeah.
I haven't met him, but he sure does sound like an awesome dude.
He's a good dude.
And if he's going to hire you, then he must be a good judge of character.
Blind in one eye.
I can't see how the other. Excellent. Good. So you got any hobbies?
I have an 11-year-old daughter.
Okay. Yeah. I understand.
And,
I identify with that.
And like I said, my son is a big-time golfer. And so for several years, I really kind of poured myself into helping him, not with his swing. I'm not that guy. Yeah. But just kind of following him along. And and then my daughter, we stay really active. And so we love to fish, but it's 150,000 degrees. So that during the summer, it's really tough. So we need to get out on the lake. So if there's anybody out there that has a boat that wants to take a guy and his daughter out, just saying. But we're actually, when I leave here, she and I are going to go play some pickleball. She loves to play. And
dude, pickleball. I mean, what's
exploding?
Why? How?
Is it
that fun?
It is, but the thing is that the court's so much smaller.
Yeah.
And so
I heard you don't have to move very much.
You don't have to move very much.
Yeah.
And I told my wife the other day, I said, the hardest thing about pickleball is picking up the ball. So yeah, but she loves to play and I like to play. I like to try to stay active. And
Yeah. Hey, if you've ever played pickleball, then comment why you love pickleball or why you hate pickleball. I've never played it. I hear everybody, and it's some big, huge crave, right? Yeah. There's pickleball courts, pickleball this, and it's like, what the heck is pickleball?
Yeah, it's exploding right now for sure.
And why the heck they call it pickleball?
I did read that, and I don't remember off the top of my head now, but there is a reason for it. So,
I need a listener to tell me, hey, why do they call it pickleball?
Yeah.
I need someone right now. Just let us know. Look it up.
For sure.
Google it. Right? I don't know. Yeah, pickleball.
Yeah, but it's
something else.
It's basically table tennis, really, or ping pong, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, ping pong
on a court.
And tennis
but it has a lot of rules that are confusing. But
yeah,
it's fun.
I'm gonna have to try it one day. I'm pretty physical, so if there's tackling involved and taking people down, armbar, choking them out, I definitely do it.
They'll let you do that anywhere once.
Yeah, golf was the same way. Once I did that, they're like, "You're not welcome back here." What?
Yeah, they need to merge golf and hockey. That would be like the best sport ever.
Oh, I would sign me up.
Yeah,
sign me up. I love it. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, let's go into your business, right? If I know this time of year, there's a lot of people around, a lot of storms coming, things like that, right? If they're interested in roofing, right, and just need someone to come and inspect their roof, how do they get a hold of you? What would be the best way?
There's two things. I guess it's okay for me to give my information.
No, please. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. The two easiest ways are either via my cell phone, which is 817-756-7536, or you can always reach me via email, and that's Jeff at Watson's with an S, Watson's Roofing DFW.com. So Watson's Roofing DFW.com.
I'll put it in the description on this video as well too. So if they want to go down there and just click it, then they'll go to you. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, very cool. So what else would you like to tell now? Let's go into the veteran business owner or someone that's been doing business for a while.
Ready to boost your business's impact? Fully Promoted Fort Worth is your one-stop destination for branding needs, specializing in branded apparel and promotional products. They help attract, retain, and engage customers. From custom uniforms to eye-catching items, Fully Promoted Fort Worth has you covered. Contact them today to unlock your brand's potential. 817-803-4404. Fully Promoted, your success, their passion.
Looking to elevate your office meetings, client gifting, or corporate parties? Check out Gray's Craze, your one-stop destination for delightful catering options. Imagine impressing your colleagues and clients with our large charcuterie board, carefully curated with the finest artisanal cheeses, premium meats, and an array of accompaniments. And when it comes to client gifting, nothing says thank you quite like a luxurious selection of gourmet treats designed to meet your every need. Gray's Craze, catering that leaves a lasting impression.
And we kind of alluded to this a little earlier, the answer to that, and is that failure is not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But I guess to kind of go back to the question, what I would say to the really seasoned business owners is that learn from your mistakes, but teach from your mistakes. So those people that are you're bringing up in your company, let them see that you have made mistakes. Explain to them what you did. Explain to them the process that you went through, because in every business, it's not just one person that builds it. It's the people that you hire that build it. And when you really dump yourself into people and you grow them, they're going to grow you.
That's solid advice.
Yeah.
Seriously, because like we also I teach martial arts, and I'll tell my students, say, hey, if you want to get really good at what you're doing, step up and teach others.
Teach others, yeah.
Right? Because it's one thing to learn for yourself, one thing to go through those mistakes yourself. You know, you could quickly learn, adjust, all that. But then whenever you're teaching others, you know, how to manage and go through that, one thing that happens is you got to relearn what you have to teach.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just makes you a better student whenever you step up into that mentoring, teacher, whatever you want to call it. Right. But I really like that. And I like the transparency that you talked about too. Right. Let them know, you know, the mistakes you did or whatever went through, and teach them why you navigated the way you did through that.
For sure.
Right? Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
My kids, they say this all the time because they've heard it all their life: is life is too short to make all the mistakes yourself. Learn from others.
Absolutely.
Right.
Sure.
And you would think, right? I mean, as long as man's been around, right? And if we would just do that 100% all the time, eventually you would think, okay, we would stop making mistakes because we've learned. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
But it doesn't work that way.
No,
we continue to make them.
We all have the ability to think that we're the only one in the room. So, yeah.
Especially when you're going through something, right? When you're going through something and you're like, man, I'm the only person that this is happening to. And then when you voice it out, everybody's like, yeah, that's happened to me too.
Yeah.
Or it has happened to me, or it's happening now to me too, right? So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And with that said, I think I've realized that I'm not afraid to admit where I've made mistakes, and I'm not afraid to ask questions. And so, I guess maybe to piggyback on what the question was earlier, don't be afraid, even if you've been doing the business for 20 years, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask the people that are below you, or not necessarily below you, but the people that you've hired, ask them what they would do to solve the problem.
No, that's a solid piece of advice too.
Yeah.
Yep. And even though you may think, okay, well, I want to go this way with this issue, I think it is good to take your team and say, hey, team, this is what we're facing, right? I want to hear your ideas. Sometimes they'll come up with a better idea, and you're like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And then you can navigate that way. That's super. How many people are on your team that you're, I guess, that you manage? Is that how you do it? It's like you inspect the roof, you bid the roof, price out or whatever, and they say, yes, I want you to do this. And do you have like different teams that y'all work with, or is you just have one team that's under you, or how does that work?
So we have multiple people that work with us. But I mean, just kind of to break it down, we have a crew that there's multiple guys in this crew, and we've used them exclusively for 4.5 years now. So they've installed probably 300-400 roofs for us.
Yeah.
And so, and then we vet almost every person that works with us. Use the same painting crew for a while. And when I say painting, I mean we do, like I mentioned earlier, we do a lot of storm damage renewal. And so but I have been recently training a new guy in the field with me to go out and actually sell roofs. And so, I allowed him to, we talked a little bit, and then we looked at a couple roofs together, and then I allowed him to inspect them. And then we talked about what he might've missed and what he did right. And so, but
can we talk about that process real quick? Right. So whenever you do have someone new, right, that you're training and showing them, right, I think that process would really help some business owners as well too, right? Because what I see a lot of times, especially small business owners, they're like, let's say they're a plumber or, a trade of some sort, right? It's very difficult for them to hire on someone to train them to replace them or multiply, themselves, like what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So, what would be like maybe a 3-step process, 4-step process of training that person, right? Could you break that down quickly?
Yeah. In our industry, there's a lot of things that they have to learn. So they're not going to learn it all while they're training.
Yeah,
and
sure.
So, but really and truly, you need to teach them initially what the difference is between actual damage and just maybe age.
Okay.
So you can look at a roof and it have some issues with it, but it not be hail damage, or it can have something that might look like hail damage and it's just not. It's foot traffic or whatever it might be.
Right.
So teaching your new guy the difference between those two saves him time or her time, saves the customer time. Because the worst thing you can do is tell a customer you have true storm damage and you don't, and they don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
I mean, it's literally wasting your time. Move on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That answer your question?
I think so.
Yeah.
From what I gathered from what you were saying earlier was, it's almost like I'm going to show me, teach me, and then let me do it, right? So it's almost like hey, you come with me, let me show you what I'm doing and why I'm doing that. Now I'm sort of going to, do it with you, and then I'm going to look over your shoulder and now go out and do it and report back. Yeah. That type of.
And as a business owner or a seasoned business owner, you have to be available when they have questions. Make yourself available. Not only make yourself available, but make sure they know that you're available for them. So that is your future, because nobody wants to work forever.
Yeah.
So just be available to them.
That's good advice as well too. Appreciate that. Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting close to the end, right? What I always like to do is have something again a little more personal at the end, right? So, what is there like a funny story or funny moment in your life that you'd like to share?
I have a lot of funny moments.
Oh
my gosh, man, you ask some really difficult questions to answer.
On the spot, I know, right?
On the spot, yeah. Well, I tell you, I say this all the time. My wife's family, they're absolute salt of the earth. My wife and her mom and her dad, and it's not really a funny story, but I give my mother-in-law the hardest time. I'm always joking with her, talking about how old she is and, yada, yada, yada. Well, it was her birthday last weekend, and she's like 187, I think is what it was, but no, not really. But I wouldn't tell anybody this, but after we left the house after the party, I texted her and I was like, "You're really pretty awesome." So just told her what I really think about her, and she knows. Cool. But so
I love it.
Yeah, I would say to kind of wrap it up. Yeah. Take people to the side and tell them how much you care about them, how good of a job they're doing. Yeah. It means so much to people when you do that.
I love it. No, that's great advice.
Take that opportunity every day if you can. So,
Love it. I love it. Well, man, appreciate it. Appreciate your time. And
this is way harder than I expected it to be.
No, it's all good. You did great.
Yeah.
You did great. So, again, thank y'all. If y'all are watching, I appreciate you. And, man, please like, subscribe, share out. And, we'll see you next time on the Biz Life.